Good morning, everybody. This is Rick, and this is Two Brothers Outdoors. All right, guys. So we talked about the tension gauges and stuff for the mill. Tim and I bought a pair of tension gauges. So we will be tensioning our blades with this each time we tension them. No more torque wrenches. We're going to have the tension proper and right, and hopefully make it a little easier on the equipment, a little easier on the blades. All right, guys, I got a project going this morning. Come on along with me, and let's take a look at what we're doing. All right, so I've been kind of busy this morning. If you'll look behind me right there, I built that rack this morning, and you know what that rack is for? Try to make a guess. All right, let me show you the second part of this project. That's actually the last part, but I built that first because I got wood ready available and screws, and you know what it takes to put stuff together. Now, if you've watched our videos for enough years, you'll know that years ago I built a gator tail boat motor to propel my canoe when we went hunting and stuff. Well, we've graduated to kayaks. We don't use the canoe that much. If I decide to use the canoe to go fishing, I do have a boat motor, so the gator tail boat motor is no longer necessary because we're not using the canoe in shallow spots and stuff like that to go deer hunting. So with that being said, you can see it's mud season. Snow is going and the ground's still frozen, but the first inch or so of dirt is thawed out. There's no place for the water to go. It can't soak into the ground, so it makes a muddy mess. It'll be like that for a few weeks, and then once the ground thaws out, the water soaks in, and away it goes. Ground hardens up. All right, so there's the old gator tail boat motor. That is a 3.5 horsepower motor. Hasn't got many hours on it. As you can see, I got it sitting on a piece of channel iron. And I've got a bunch of heavy steel conduit laying here. I'm going to cut some sections out of these, like 3-foot sections. So with this and that rack, try to take a guess of what we're doing. All right, let me get this cut up so we can get the legs. Oops, did I spill the beans on that? So I can get the pipes welded onto the channel iron. You're wondering what that was that I just cut up. I built that years ago when I had a big truck to pull my big camper. That bolted on a pair of hinges on the front bumper, and I could carry my canoe on top of the big truck with a big camper behind it. We no longer have that big truck. The big camper is up for sale because we got a new one that's smaller, and that rack is no longer necessary. So guess what? I can utilize it somewhere else. This is why I never throw away any scrap steel. All right, let me go get the welder out and get moving here. I think I'm going to take this engine down to my shop real quick. I still have to take this sprocket off of it. So I'm going to carry it down there. If I leave it on here, something's going to fall over. It is going to hit the ground. Something's going to break, and then you know the scenario. Don't want to do that. I'm going to take that down to the shop, get it ready for assembly. All right, guys. Downstairs real quick and put an Allen wrench in the set screws that held that sprocket on that engine. Set screws broke loose. Come right out. Do you know why it came right out? Because the guy that put that together, me, put NICs on the set screws. And I put a little bit of NICs on the crankshaft too when I slid the sprocket cone when I slid the sprocket on there. So everything just came right apart, no problems. Nothing like the rusty nuts and bolts that we've dealt with on other things. All right, so I'm going to cut these legs tacked on, and I'm going to get a flat surface, set this on the flat surface, make sure it's level, and the legs are where they're supposed to be, and then I will weld them up. I just hope that I have enough wire. If I don't, I'm going to have to switch over to stick. This welder is capable of both. These little welders, I tell you, they amaze me. I've never seen anything like it. Back in the day, you had to use these big old ugly welders to weld anything. Now, to make sure you get a good weld, you gotta make sure you clean the metal with a grinder. Every good weld starts with good clean metal. Like I said, these little welders are amazing. Okay, so I just carried it down to my shop, put it on a level floor, and got the legs adjusted level. And now we're going to put them in place for good. Alright guys, all you gotta do is get these motor mounts welded on, and we have just a few more little things to do on this, and we're going to be almost ready. We are out of wire, guys. It's going to be stick welding from now on. I haven't tried this in the stick mode. I guess I will now. I'll be with you in a minute. Alright guys, I have a big stick welder in the garage. I've never welded with a stick with this. I got some 3/32. It's a 7018 rod, which is a very hard rod to weld with if the welder's not capable. So I guess we'll see what happens. So we have to put this over on rod, And then we will flip this on. Let's see what happens. Alright guys, like I said, 7018 rod is a very hard rod to weld with. I did get a couple of good welds on it. It was a struggle for this welder. Now the little Truzy welder that Tim has, it's got 220 volt input or 110 volt input, and it can burn up to an 1/8 inch rod and does a very good job. This one's a great MIG welder, but it's struggling with these high tensile rods, high tensile strength rods. So I'm thinking if I had a mild steel rod, it would be all right. But we got the job done. That's all that counts. All right. This looks good. Liking the way it looks. This thing hasn't run in about 6 years. Let me put some gas in it and see if we can get it start. I only run high test, non-ethanol gas in them. Wouldn't run anything else. It's been, last time this engine ran was before COVID. So that's way back, what, 2020, 2019? All right. All right. I'm hoping for a pop here. All right. Well, smelling gas. Maybe it needs a little caffeine, huh? All right, runs off ether, not gas. Take the bowl off the carburetor. I'm sure it's got something growing in there. You know how people can go up to a vehicle that's been sitting for 155 years and put a battery in it and clean moth nest out of it and turn the key over and boom, it fires right up? That's not me. I have to take the carburetor apart, clean all the crap out of it. Well, she's running now.